Hi, everybody. It is daylight savings time today, and I am a bit discombobulated, but excited to be doing this video with my friends Nicole
Hi. Yeah,
and
Nicole.
Amy.
Hey.
And I think one of you have a question that we're going to dive into, and I'm going to kind of see what I get with the whatever the question may be, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. So it's kind of both our questions, but the question deals with the political climate now, and given the intense political climate that's concerning all of us, it ins and what it incites, and uh, the question is, what is that? What kind of karma is that creating?
Or what maybe even what karma created it.
Or what Sherry would say, what karma created? Yeah, thank you,
I
Sherry.
mean, both. I think
Yes,
both are
yes,
really
yes.
important. Yeah.
I
All
don't
right.
know either of them, so if you
All
can
right.
answer either,
So,
it'd be great.
well, we'll see. I'm not sure what I'm going to answer yet. I got to just tell you what I get. So let's go ahead and see karmically about the current political environment and what that's about. Okay. Well, the first thing that I get is that, and this is something that is just a true, truism in spirituality is that we did all choose to be here at this time, that none of us are here by accident. And we knew coming into this life that we would confront challenges. Now, we didn't know maybe the gravity of this because while we're here on Earth, we do have free will choice. So what's happening now could didn't necessarily have to play out the way it's played out. That wasn't something that was a divine plan, we'll say. The divine plan in this was more this opportunity to work with these different energies that are colliding at this time. And karmically, this was due us, is what I hear. And I hear that it is due us as a country, and that some of the karma is really more, which is surprising to me because I've never looked at karma this way. But I get the karma is connected to the energy of this country, and that many souls have come in to positively impact that karma and to correct that karma. Or let me take that back. It's not correcting it as much as it is making choices that lift it into a higher vibration. And that's what I mean by correcting is kind of they show me this image of like pulling up weeds and allowing new growth. And what's interesting, which really does surprise me in a way, because I assumed it was our personal karma. And of course, there is personal karma here. Many of the people who are part of the kind of the differing forces here, the forces being the force of ego, fear, control, power, and the force of positivity and compassion, love, and caring. These two different forces are the kind of the people that have come in, us, the people that we are here, came in and were here in past times as part of creating the karma. So most of us here confronting this have lived in this country in other past lives and we're part of some similar energy in different times, whether that was the Civil War or the Revolutionary War, or even when a big thing actually they tell me was when white settlers came in and disregarded the native ways. the indigenous ways. And I didn't, yeah, that's interesting. That is a big part of why we are experiencing this is because of the denial that we've had for so long of our own actions. We've carried that karma as a country. And to free us, to free this country and to um, release some of the energy that is still bound up in the pain and suffering we have inflicted on others, not personally, it's not bound up in terms of one specific, different individuals, but it's bound up in the energy here, which has to be atoned for. It has to be released and it has to heal. So, strangely enough, what I'm getting is that this is a great time of healing. Who would have thought? I wouldn't have thought.
So, so let me ask. So, one thing, because I feel like that's the question that a lot of my friends, what can I do? We talked about, phone calls, letters, excuse me, marching, but then your personal work. So one thing what I heard was I can do that had with such gravity is to look at all that I see out there that maybe I say I don't disagree, I disagree with, or that's not in me, and find it in me and heal it in me. Is that
Yeah, let me
is
see
that
what we get with that. Mhm. Yeah, it's both. The only way when they say when we talk about healing, that this is a time of healing, an opportunity for healing. What's happening politically, and a lot of what we hear on a day-to-day basis of the atrocities and the kind of shock that we go into when we hear of the choices that an administration is making. Um, it's an opportunity to confront the energies that have been stuffed down, put away, and dormant.
Mhm.
It's kind of like and that's in part why it's happening, is because for so long we've been in denial and we've seen ourselves in this country as, um, that's the shining lights of the world, that we are do everything, that we can have all of it, we can have all ease and money and power. And so when we see it happening and we feel it happening, we feel it within ourselves, that, like you said, that gives us the opportunity to look at within. And so let me ask how that occurred, how that will, the internal part of that and then the external part of that. Well, they're not different. My guides are telling me they're actually one and the same, because the inner part of it is, let's say that, we're watching television and we see some of the people being abused, immigrants being abused, and children being dragged, treated atrociously. That feeling that it brings up in us, we have to be careful not to completely project it as not it's the other. Yes, it is the other. Yes, we are not taking those actions. So, and this is where spirituality is so essentially important for healing and growth, is because in spirituality, we know that we are one. We know that we are different expressions of all that we are collectively. And so when we project it and say, well, they're bad and I'm good, we miss the opportunity to recognize that feeling of disgust or anger or rage that we have. That's something that can take us deeper into our heart of compassion. It's something that is pushing us to, if we look at it wisely, if we look at it as a spiritual idea, a spiritual expression. It helps us to look within ourselves and to say, instead of anger, I'll have compassion. Or let me say it a different way. Instead of anger, the anger I feel will be put into action to love others.
Right.
The um
It
the
is,
hatred I feel or the whatever, just those horrible feelings will be put into loving others. It will be put into compassion. It will be expressed in a way that's a positive force. And how we define that positive force has to be an action in external way. It has to be whatever we feel comfortable and called to do. And the good thing is we have lots of options. We can march, we can call senators, and we can campaign for candidates. We can drive people to vote. There's so many different
Right.
things we can
Yeah.
do, but we have to do it. And what will help us to do it is to recognize that doing it is healing ourselves and it's healing the karma that brought us into this situation. Because here's the thing they're showing me is that when we came in, and I say this because, we being my ancestry is all European, um, when we came in, there was a righteousness in killing the indigenous wise
Mhm.
people here. There's a righteousness now in killing
Mhm.
people that are different from us. There's incredible righteousness in that. And that in that righteousness, we're in denial about the pain. So it's the feeling. So this whole thing happening is to get us to basically feel and to bring us out of denial and to bring us into a place where we're part of that action. We're part of, we stir up more of our compassion. We stir up more of our desire and love for others. And, in so many ways, that's really working now too, you
Yeah.
know?
it feels like what you're saying is kind of like that psychology concept of like embracing the shadow self,
Mhm.
and
Right.
that when you shine the light on it and really acknowledge it within ourselves, then we can like free that energy up and let compassion fill that space
Right.
Which,
and act on that.
because isn't the wound like where the light comes from? The wound,
Right.
the light and the healing. That quote, yeah, that kind of
Hmm.
Right.
idea. Yeah.
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 Right. Yeah.
But until you, I guess, acknowledge it within yourself and
Right.
feel it and feel the pain instead of looking away or, no, I'm not a
Right.
part of it, but to really feel it deeply, that then inspires one to action or to then be
Hmm.
more led by the heart and free that space up within ourselves is
Yeah.
what
And
it
Right.
sounds like.
yeah, I'm hearing confronting and then the action of that. Yeah. Definitely confronting it. Because
Hmm.
to be honest, I didn't I read the news and then I kind of don't I have an initial reaction, but I'm also guess what I'm taking from it is I can start to have more feelings about that and how do I really feel about that? And then, which is confronting it within myself and what's going on in my reality. And then what I do with that and how do I use that confronting? Yeah.
Yeah. And even just feeling the pain of others,
Yeah.
is um that's like the role of a healer, that is bringing us all into a higher spiritual vibration to be able to they keep showing me these images of masters and sages from long, long ago, and how I believe it was in China. I can't think of the name of the sect, but there was a sect that wandered around and went, to different villages. And what they did, their role was to kind of soak in the darkness of the village, was to take in the anger and the fear and even the death, even and they were willing to do that. That was their spiritual practice. And they would, um, I've read stories where they would kind of even go into these villages and just almost freeze to death too. I mean, they would just take on everything. They would be out in the cold. They were just there to take all of it, and to ask for nothing, for ask for no food, or, if people gave them, it was great. But um, I bring that up because it feels like on some level, what my guides are showing me is the transformation that we can make in our own karma when and we are doing it now, when we feel the atrocities and the pain that others are suffering. It's a big
Yeah,
thing to do that, It's a really, really big thing, and it's hard, and it's wearing a lot of people down for good reason because it's very difficult to feel at that level and to wake up every morning and to see more of it. But the big thing is we can't shut that down,
right.
and that's the crux of it. What my guides are showing me is we can't go into denial and push it away because our only course of healing now is to keep feeling it and then to, in any way that suits us, to be a positive force for others. They tell me it doesn't even matter if it's, we'll say, an immigrant or someone in Iran or Venezuela or wherever. It would even just be being of service to the people around you in some way, the people in need. It can be expressed in so many different ways. Any other questions about that?
So it doesn't have to be, you're saying, like a direct connection to immigrants or those people. It can just be anyone that we come across in our life who's in need, and we
Mhm.
help them in any way that we can. And
Yeah,
that,
what they're saying, it's all about the energy of feeling what another's going through, that empathy, that, empath energy, letting ourselves have that emotional feeling reaction to it, and then putting the energy out there to help in any way through compassion to be of service to them. Because spiritually speaking, it's really about the energy shift. And that's what they keep taking me back to is that the dynamic they say not to forget that is essential is the emotional empath. We can say it's empathic or we can say it's empathy or whatever, but to allow ourselves to feel, realize that denial of any type or pushing away is the karma we're here to alleviate.
That's key. That's key.
That's
Okay.
key,
yeah,
Confronting it is
yeah,
key. Okay.
Confronting it, our feelings, and taking action is key,
Okay.
but we can't take actions from anger or
Right.
from
Right.
revenge or because someone's bad and we have to get them. We have to take action through compassion and through being in touch with our feelings. We have to make it a service of love.
So we volunteer for hospice, but you're saying, but that's not, we should be giving that energy back to because, well, I mean, so many people are harmed. I mean, back to the energy that we're experiencing in the world. And so is that different? So is us volunteering, continuing to volunteer for hospice, which we were doing, but that's not the same. Is that all part of the same energy? Sorry, is that not
Good question. Let me see.
to shift
To
volunteer?
some degree, yes. To some degree, it is. What they're saying is, they say, like, let's say that you are on your way to hospice, or you wake up in the morning and you look at your phone and you scan and you see, oh my gosh, this is happening. Um, Let it stir up the feeling. Let yourself, like, don't push that away. Don't try to, say, oh, well, that's something different. I'm going to,
Right,
you can, the big thing, again, don't they say focus on form. Don't focus on it's this person, it's that person.
right,
Focus on the feeling is here. I'm going to express that through compassion to someone in need. So yeah, it
Right.
could be hospice
And,
people, but
and
you get the key. The key is to kind of keep the remembrance that what's happening politically in the world, driven by our country, basically, um, affects me in this way. I feel this way about it, and that's what we have to take into any situation, whether it's hospice or something else.
right. Yeah.
And
Right,
that makes it actually, it feels like easier for me to do that than to feel like I had to be politically
right.
involved in some way.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you feel, if I mean, if a situation comes up and you have to get out of your comfort zone, and I mean, that's good too. It just means
Right.
it's just the karma, though they say, is not, it's about the shifting of energy from denial, a lack of feeling to, and fear and power that, see, the country, they say the karma we are battling right now, we're trying to heal. I should say heal. Battle's not the right word, but they say, well, it's okay. It can be a good, loving battle, they say. But um, it's been brought on by our actions, but also by the consciousness, the collective consciousness this country has had for centuries, which is domination,
Mhm.
control, power, and we're entitled. And people of color, people that look differently, people that speak different languages are not as entitled as us.
Right.
So, the karma is pretty deep karma. It doesn't mean that it's not about, well, I don't have to review that, but you understand, kind of
Right.
get it?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautifully said. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And I
Yeah.
feel so much more
Yeah.
empowered.
Yeah.
Like, even though I feel like we've talked about this before, I never felt like I still was making a difference, but I feel like I have so much more of an understanding that it's an energy shift and me giving energy back in a way, confronting it, feeling it, which is going to help me, and then giving it back. It's, the empathetic way or compassionate way of giving it back. So I definitely feel more empowered,
Good.
which is
Good,
great, and
good, good.
empowered to do more and to, yeah,
Hmm.
however I want that to manifest, however the
Right.
doing is. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. That's great. I have another
Okay.
question, but I think we might save it to next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Nicole, what are you up to?
Well, Sherry, thanks for asking. So, I am an author, animal communicator, and artist, and I am creating a 51 card
Oh,
animal profound truth soul painting oracle deck. So I'm
cool.
painting 51 souls, and the animal soul is going to be on the front, and they're one of their profound truths on the back. And then there's a book that will go with it and how to interact like you would an oracle deck or a tarot deck, where there's exercises, interactions with abstract art and with the animal's profound truth. So
Very
um,
nice.
it's a beautiful place to be. Speaking of the climate, like channeling them and their profound truths, it's a beautiful space that
Hmm.
I want to stay in all the time. So I feel lucky to be able to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Amy.
And
Oh,
Amy?
well, I'm changing my bodywork practice, transitioning into more energy healing, and goes along with what we're talking about, actually.
Yeah,
It's
True.
just really feeling and helping the people feel what
Yeah,
they feel and not store it somewhere in their body.
absolutely.
So, yeah.
All right. So thank you, everybody. And thank you,
that's a wrap.
Nicole and Amy. I've
Hey,
had a lot of
Sherry.
fun.
Thanks,
And
Sherry. Thanks, guides.
yeah, I'm like, well, yeah, it all surprised me. Like, well, wait a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I like doing this, is because I like being surprised. Like, yeah,
Yes. Yep.
I don't want to assume too much.
Nope.
All right. Well,
All right. Till next time.
bye-bye.
All
All
right.
right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.